Welcome to Inside the Red Zone with Coach Smith and Michelle. Man, it's that time of the year again. It is Friday Night Lights, and we have a special guest to talk about it. The voice of Mobile and Baldwin County, Pigskin Pete. Welcome to the Inside the Red Zone, Pigskin Pete.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach Danny, Michelle. This is awesome to be with you guys. Great time of the year, man. We talk about this all summer, and when it gets here, it's underway. And whether it's high school, college, that's my two favorite sports in general. But man, this is absolutely great time of the year. You're getting August and September.
Man, no doubt, man. This is, you got the call-in show, Pigskin Pete on Friday, then we roll right into Saturday, game day. So hey, here's show on Friday night, just like Saturday, waking up for game day, man. It's nothing like Friday Night Lights. I love it, man. It's fun time of the year too.
Me too. I don't stay up late like I used to, and so when it gets to the fall, we do this show until midnight on Friday nights at the station. And we used to actually, Danny, after the show was over, we'd go to Waffle House. It would be 1:30 in the morning. And I've got some interesting stories when you're at Waffle House on Government Street at 1 o'clock in the morning, but we're just fired up. You guys, I know when you do your show, you're pumped, and you're kind of, when you're done, it's still like we love what we do.
Yeah.
And so, it's just, we're wired up. And we used to do that till about 1:30 in the morning on Saturday. It'd be Saturday by then, but now it's just, 12 o'clock seems like it's a lot later than it used to be, but we're headed home at midnight.
Oh yeah, we can totally understand that. We agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Things just begin to change.
Yeah.
Tim, we are so excited that you're here. We're honored that you would be on our show. So we just want to highlight you and introduce you to our network and just have some fun. How about that?
Thank you. I'm honored to be part of it. I know you guys have been doing this for a while, and so to be asked is a big honor. And anything that I love promoting high school football is the reason I started this. And the guys that work with us, we do this for fun. And anytime I can talk more about it, and just in general, be an outreach, it's awesome.
Yeah, we agree. And anytime we can help bring awareness to it as well, that's the best part.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna kick it off, Coach. Is that okay?
Go ahead, Coach. You got the first.
Kick off to me.
Hey, it's 1st and 10. You're go. Okay. Let's roll with it.
All
I hope I don't drop it.
right. No, you got this. First question out of the gate. I want to know, how'd you get the nickname Pigskin Pete? Great
question. So, I moved to Mobile in '93 with my company. And I noticed, hey, Mobile's got a brand new station, WNSP 105.5, actually debuted in '93. And I heard Lee Shervany in the mornings, and they had high school games. And by the way, that was the first FM station in the entire country that was all sports.
Wow. I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah. First one ever. And now they're all over the place. So I listened in '93, and I'm like, man, they got a high school game every Friday night. And when I went to Auburn, and when I was at Auburn, to get me through school, I worked at a radio station for fun. And we did a Friday night game and got involved with radio. I just love it. And so I approached Lee Shervany, and I said, the next year in '94, I said, hey, you guys got, 25, back then it was 25 schools. Now we're like 35. And I said, there's no scoreboard show, and there's no preview. Do you have any interest? Because I have a passion for it. And he said, absolutely. So I'm starting a business, and I'm in sales to a certain degree. And I'm like, man, I'm basically a financial advisor. I'm telling people to give me your life savings. And by the way, I'm trying to do another job. I didn't want that. So when I was a little boy, I grew up in Alexander City, Alabama, outside of Auburn. And on the way to school, when I was 8 or 9 years old, every morning I would hear Pete Calabrio, and he went by Pigskin Pete, and he would give the morning update on our FM station in Alex City. And that name stuck. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be able to do this. I'm just going to use the name Pigskin Pete.
Man.
And that's how it came about. Just to, if I messed up too bad too, I didn't have to use my real name. So
well, you could have not have gotten a better name, man. Everybody loves Pigskin Pete,
It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, hey, we gotta listen to Pigskin Pete tonight, man. We're on the bus coming home. Everybody get quiet. We gotta listen to Pigskin Pete, get the scores. You know.
Danny, it's funny, but one of my favorite parts of doing that show on Friday nights is after the games are over, if a team on the road wins a big game, we try to get the coach on the radio. So we'll call him, and he's on the bus with all the players. And when he picks up the phone, it's loud, and he goes, "Hey guys, be quiet, back to be on the radio." And everybody, and that entire bus is quiet, and they usually have a radio on the bus or something, and they're all listening to it. And at the end, I always get the coach. "All right, coach, players on the bus, you just got a big victory. Give us a cheer." And the entire bus erupts.
Oh man,
that's the best part. It's one of my favorite parts. Is
man, that gives me chills. There's nothing better, man. You know,
it's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, Pigskin Pete, I just want to talk about, just talk to us, the audience, about your routine on Friday night. I know that you're in the studio and you got 4 or 5 guys that covers games. Might be any more of that. Talk to us a little bit on, what time you go in, your routine, and what's it like on a Friday night with you and all the guys covering high school football.
So, Danny, we've got guys that just love what we do. And I mean, we do this for fun. I'm not like, having a second job. I, pretty much do this for free.
Yeah.
And all the guys that are roving reporters, we've got several of them that's been doing this 20 years. So we get there, I get to the studio at 6 o'clock, and I'm the only one there. Everybody leaves.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I learned how to run the board. So I answer the phones, I play the commercials, the music you hear between the breaks. I'm by myself doing all that, and I love it. That's one of my favorite parts.
Wow.
So from 6 to midnight, I'm in the controls, and I literally, during the ball game, I have to send the guys a note like, "Guys, I got to go to the restroom. You're gonna have to keep talking until I come back. Don't take a commercial break." So it's a long 6 hours, but it goes by extremely fast. And our reporters will talk on Monday or Tuesday every week, and we're like, "Hey, this big game with McGill playing Murphy on Friday night. Or you got Spanish Fort playing Saraland. Scott, you cover that one. Scott Todd, Bina Brown, Michael Holland, Tink Wilkinson helped us 20 plus years. He's retired." So we would all just kind of line up the games and where we want to go. And the station has their game they're going to cover. And so just during a big play, the guys will call in the station. I'll put them on with our announcers, who Michael Bronner and Brian Gennard do the play-by-play. They're great on Fridays, and
they are, man.
And they've been doing it now for 2 years. Lee did it forever.
Yeah.
And then at halftime, I'll come back to them. And then every Friday night, usually it's Scott Todd and Bina Brown, they'll come back to the studio and sit in, and we'll just sit there and do it till midnight.
Yeah. And the part you go statewide too. I mean, that's you tune in, you want to know what's going on in Montgomery, Birmingham, and then they cover the entire state. That is really, really good. I've
always enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, y'all are in sports. I mean, I know, Dan, you've been in coaching for a number of years, and the Gulf Coast is the best in Alabama. I know I'm biased, but I mean, we just got so many great coaches, so many players coming out of here. But across the entire state of Alabama, people want to know how Hoover's doing, how Thompson's doing. Yeah. There's a lot of interest elsewhere, so it's fun just to check out those schools too, because they're, we're Alabama fans, Auburn fans. They're the best players we're going to get are coming from these schools, so we want to see how they're doing as future players for these schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always have to give my football buddy, I can't make it every week as a coach's wife without T-Mac. And I have to give T-Mac a shout out, but he literally helps keep us, no matter where we're at, because now we're in Mississippi, at George County with Danny coaching, and T-Mac still keeps us updated. I mean, as anything is getting updated, he's getting it and keeping us updated.
Oh, he'll let me know at halftime. I'm trying to worry about our opponent. Hey, coach, man, you got to know what Davidson's doing or Baker's doing after the game, awesome. Man. Yeah. He's checking texts. He's AL.com, 105.5. He's constantly giving updates.
That is awesome. So is he sharing that? Is he sharing that with both of you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sending you text?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he goes to every game with me. Like, I couldn't make it as a coach's wife without him. He he is my football buddy. He's done that for years. I mean, he
Okay.
served at Baker with
Yeah.
Danny on the sidelines. But after that, he's been with me every game.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And you got to
Yeah.
have somebody like that, Michelle.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, our kids are grown and the kids are not here. So yeah, that means a lot.
I was at dinner Wednesday night and I ran into Coach Terry Curtis and his wife.
Yeah.
Of our show, and she's probably my biggest fan. I don't know how many fans I have, but she just absolutely she builds my confidence every time I see her. But it's just like you. I have an appreciation for the spouse because she says, "Oh, Tim, I hardly go to games. I can't handle it. I can't even hardly keep up. I listen to you on Friday nights to get the score because I'm so nervous." And I mean, she's just like, that. I remember the UMS Wright game. She was just like, I can't even go to that. This is and Terry's had so much success. But one thing I found out when I was eating with him is like, so here's what he's eating. He's having this for dessert. If we win, he's been doing this for 26 years. A Wednesday night to go out for dinner. And his wife says, oh, he orders the exact same thing, including the dessert. And some years that we go 15-0, fortunately, she said, every Wednesday night they would have the same thing. And he would never change his routine. He's got that, I guess he's just superstitious. But he said one night we went to the same restaurant, they ran out of banana pudding. And he's like, oh my gosh, I got to have banana pudding. The couple that were with, he literally got in his car and went down to Winn-Dixie, bought some bananas, brought it back to him, and they made him one.
Oh, man, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
They worked together on that. That's a good story.
I love that. And Danny and I are compiling some really cool things right now too. And I love stories like that. So yeah. Anytime we can hear some of those stories, that's awesome. I love it.
Especially somebody that's like, he's 26 years at UMS Wright. And my favorite part of that story, Michelle, is both of them are just as passionate, like, oh yeah, I'm nervous, a big game. I'm like, you hadn't lost it. And until I guess they won't retire. That's what I love about it. They have so much passion for it. And Danny, I know you're in Mississippi now, but those Friday nights, I know when you get ready to coach your game, it's still that thrill.
You can't explain it. When you quit getting that butterflies, you quit getting that feeling, it's time to retire then. But you still get, excited, looking forward to it. It's nothing like Friday during the day. You got the pep rally, the pregame meals, and everything that goes into it. It just, you can't explain it, So, you always say if you enjoy doing something, you feel like you never get paid. I mean, it's not about the money by no means,
My wife asked me, because I've been doing this for a number of years. She asked me just right before the season, she said, how long do you think you're going to keep doing it? And I told Lori, I was like, I still have that passion. I still like, oh, this football season. And, when that ends, it'll be a time, because, move on the mic to somebody else. But that's for broadcasters too. I mean, it's just that, it's just thing we love to do on the,
That's right.
It is. So tell us, where did the passion for high school football come from? Where did that come from for you? I mean, I know where that comes from with him, but I'd love to hear where that comes from.
It's funny, but I did not play football. And my dad was not a football fan in general. I mean, he took me, so I'm an Auburn fan. He took me my first Auburn game, September the 10th, 1977, because he knew I loved to go. And that was his birthday. I know he turned 32 that day. So I remember that, but 42, because he's 30 years older. He turned 42. So in the third quarter, Michelle, I looked over and Auburn just scored a touchdown against NC State to go ahead, and he was sound asleep. So it was not him, but it was my mother. She absolutely just loved football, and I grew to love it. When I got in high school, I kept up with it a lot, but I actually was a drummer in my high school band during my years in school. So I went to every game.
Okay.
And I was probably the one that's like, don't play the fight song. This is an important part of the game. I don't want to play. So, I mean, I was into the game big time back then. And then when I went to college, once I got into radio and started going to games and doing the scoreboard show and all that, just it kept growing. So it started way back at a young age, but actually was a drummer in high school and didn't actually play football.
I love that.
Man.
That's awesome.
That's,
And that's a little tidbit we just learned about the Pigskin Pete.
that's
I
right.
mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
you grew up in Alex City and you were right there at Auburn.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Alex
Sure.
City was a
It's your
great-
part of country, ain't it? If you
Uh-huh.
always say that's
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Pigskin, I think you already answered this question, but I'm gonna hit it again. How did you started the Friday night show, you got a hold of Alicia Vanian, you got the ball rolling on that, and it just snowballed from there. Is that correct?
It did. That's 30 years ago, Danny.
Wow,
I
30
started-
years ago.
This is last year was the 30th. This is the 31st year. And it's so changed. I mean, back in 94, I can remember going to, it was the old KRG building. Now we're on Dolphin Street. And back then we didn't have Twitter.
Yeah.
We didn't have cell phones.
I was getting ready to say, do we have cell phones in 93?
No, we did not. Nobody had like at the games. They didn't. So I can remember just trying to, I think the computer helped a little bit. It wasn't nothing like today, but we would literally call people once they got home,
Yeah.
and coaches, or they got to back then you got the dressing room locker number.
Or
Right.
they got on a payphone to call you,
The reporters after the game would go to a payphone if their home was far away to give me the final recap of the game.
Wow.
It's just crazy. And now, just speed ahead 30 years. Now people can get on these apps, Michelle, like you said, and they can see scores instant. Twitter gives you pretty much, if you want to follow somebody at the game, they're going to tell you pretty much every possession, what's happening. So radio is a little bit different. That we had a stretch for 20 years to where people got in their car and they had no idea. I mean, they had, and it's still, we love it because I guess people still get in their car and they still just love hearing coaches get on with us. We have players at times to get on with us. The fans are one of my favorite parts because they call us and they could just tell they're excited. They just left the game. They want to tell us what happened.
Yeah.
That will never change. I mean, you're still
Yeah.
going to have that in your car going home. I love, I remember St. Paul's recently beating UMS at the last second in overtime. And I'm like, I got to get Ham Barnett in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're at that passion
Yeah.
and you're catching them still at school,
Yeah.
there's no better time to really
Oh,
just hear it. In
That
their voice.
emotion's high, talking
Yeah.
fast, so adrenaline's still going, it is.
Yes,
You can
and
just
Danny,
feel it.
when you were at Baker, we had you on a number of times after big wins because Baker, in your
Yeah.
era, they just were playing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing how Baker has changed that program. I mean, you know it when
Yeah.
you would see the phone call coming in, and you knew that we were trying to get people on, and that's fun to get the coaches and hear their excitement.
Oh, yeah.
And I think everyone still loves that. Like, that will not go out of style, or no matter what technology changes. I think that right there is still, it can't be beat.
Mhm.
No, it can't be. And there's so much, Michelle, talk about with the NIL transfer portal. There's a lot of stuff happening. We're like, oh my gosh, what's this gonna do? We see what it's doing to college. How's it gonna affect high school? But I think as long as we have that, 99% of the kids on the high school level will never play after they're senior.
That's
Their
right.
senior night, that's it. To have the coaches, this is their job. They want the kids to succeed. They want the school to succeed. And it's just, I don't think you ever lose that.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. Well, tell our network and our audience a little bit about your beautiful family, because we can talk football all night long. And I always say we love to talk our favorite F words, but that includes family.
Yeah.
And tell us about your beautiful family.
But thank you for letting me share that. So I have two children. My wife, Lori, and I have been married 32 years. Get that right.
Wow. Don't miss
Wow,
that.
We were married April 11th, so I know the date. And our kids ended up, they went in Mobile to schools, Faith Academy and St. Luke's. We had them both those programs. loved it in Mobile, and they both went to Auburn. My daughter is going to be a senior coming up this next year. And Lori and I still, we have a place in Mobile. My office is in Mobile, but we actually, because our kids are in Auburn, we got a place in Auburn. And so I'm going up to Auburn a good bit. And my son is 25. He's graduated from Auburn, and a company moved into Auburn right after he graduated, and they hired about 15 graduates. He was one of them. So he happens to still be in Auburn, and my daughter's got another year left. So it's been awesome. I've been blessed to have a great family and are good kids, and still I asked my wife, I said, it's been 32 years. She said, yeah, it seems like 20 minutes. And then she paused, said, underwater. And I'm like, no, no, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
That's so good. I love it. And yes, Lori is precious. She's so beautiful. And I knew that your daughter was still there, but I couldn't remember if your son was or not. So he has graduated, and now he's working in that area too. That's just awesome.
Yeah, he is. And my daughter Reagan and my son Landon, that's their names. And Reagan loves Auburn. I mean, she just moved into a new apartment, and I was just over there this past weekend. You know how these lights hanging and on your outside fence and trees, it's a popular thing in Mobile. Yeah. Also in Auburn, the students with their places, they have. So that was my job in one of my first helping her in apartments, to go out and get the lights and hang outside. But she's, it's Auburn's Alabama. I mean, she's in Alabama this weekend because some of her best friends from St. Luke's go to Alabama. So she's up there, and, we're lucky to have the South Alabama of the worlds and Auburn and Alabama's for our kids. I think Alabama, as far as a state, I don't care what people say, I think it's a hidden treasure. I go to different parts of the country, and I think our state, when it comes in generals, I love Alabama in general. Yeah,
no, I agree. I was just having that conversation last week with some ladies I'm in business with, and they're in other parts of the country, and they were asking me questions about Alabama. I said, you guys just have to come. You have to come visit and experience it for yourself. It's amazing.
And the beautiful beaches down in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, and you got in the North Alabama and the mountains, and it's just, of course, it's the best football in the entire nation, right? In that heart of SEC land with the Tide and the Tigers. I mean, you can't go wrong.
No, so, and I'm a big golfer, and I think the golf in our state is awesome. And I'll say this, Michelle, you talked about other people, you've heard the same thing about Alabama. So I ran into one of the directors at Auburn, and part of the athletics, and he's been at several SEC schools. And he told me, he said, Tim, I've been to Florida, Ole Miss. He was a coach at Ole Miss for a long time. I've been to a lot of places. And he says, he's been at Auburn for 2 years. And he's like, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know why this is not exposed more, but Auburn is a hidden gem. And he said, I've been to Alabama. I mean, as far as the passion, but the city is great, safe. Yes. And he just talked about he travels with recruiting, and he sees all different parts of Alabama. We're blessed. We got a good area down here. And then, of course, football makes it even better.
That's right. That's right.
And as a coach's wife, one thing that I've always just thoroughly enjoyed is getting to go with him to take the recruits to the different stadiums and to see the programs. And of course, my favorite is always Auburn. But
must be true love, Tim. I'm an Alabama fan, so
I know you are.
True love.
I know, Danny. We're weighing it way too far on one side right now.
That's right.
Yeah, and I've been to. So one thing I'm gonna miss with high school football is, I know you guys realize college playoffs have started with college.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, and man, my favorite part of, like, when they changed the Super 7, where state championships were played at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Jordan-Hare Stadium. Oh my goodness. I mean, that talk about something to kids and coaches too. They'll never forget.
Yes.
I mean, they watch it every Saturday, and now, oh my gosh, my child is sitting here playing at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yes.
And just great memories.
Like
yeah.
I know. I remember the year that
we
you guys
played,
when you
played at
coached
Auburn.
Jordan hair. And
Yeah.
it was just this feeling of,
Mhm.
that's my husband on the field. Like,
Mhm.
that's our team. There's
You know,
nothing like it.
Then you stand on the
That was-
sideline, you look up, it's like, wow, I'm finally getting to coach in this SEC stadium, you know, and then
Danny,
so
that was a Mobile Christian, right?
that was,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, we lost that game to Piedmont, last play of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Piedmont,
yeah.
what's a Piedmont kid? That kid that was like, they had the brothers that were just like,
Yes, man.
how many
Tough as
brothers do they have?
he was a quarterback, tough as nails, man.
Yeah,
He could run, throw. He was a good one.
Now, this
Well,
is a true story. I was at that game, and Danny, I thought about you because I saw you on the sidelines. Thought about
Yeah.
Coach Cottrell. I'm like, man, these guys got to be loving it. They're sitting here coaching. I remember thinking that they got
Yeah.
to be loving it, being on the sidelines. And how many years has it been? You're still just thinking about that memory you have.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been coached for 34 years, and that was the only state championship game I've actually coached in. I've coached in like 6 semifinals, but that was the only state final game. And just being on that sideline and watching that eagle fly around, and looking at the big screen, the jumbotron, there's just nothing better, man. It
Do you
gets me
remember-
chills thinking about
Do
it.
you remember when they would put the video right before the game started, and they would show your hometown, and they would have pictures of Mobile Christian School, surroundings in Mobile, and all the players and fans are sitting there watching
Yes.
Yeah.
hometowns on the big
On
jumbo.
the
On that
Jumbotron.
screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So
That's awesome.
awesome.
Well, man, let's switch gears back to your Friday night show. So you've
Okay.
been doing this for 31 years. So is there any weekend in particular that really stands out that it was just chaotic, a lot of memories, anything, that our audience like to hear about? A lot of overtime games or something
Yeah.
dramatic happen. And
Yeah, I remember. Do you remember? God, this is back in the late '90s. Alma Bryant's had some struggles, but do you remember Bart Sessions were there and they won like 12 games?
oh yeah.
Remember Brandon Johnson?
Oh yeah. He just got his number retired at the Alba Middle School. Did you
Okay, I
see
didn't-
that? Yeah.
did
Rush
not.
Probst his first year there, and they went like 14-1 or something like that.
Yeah,
at Bryant.
Rush Probst. That's right, Rush Probst. Yeah, I meant to. Yeah, I remember Brandon calling our station one night. Somebody had called and talked about his girlfriend on the radio.
Ooh. And he called in.
And he was like, "Hey, tell that guy here's my number." He was like, "I want to meet this."
I would not want to fool with him either.
No, that was a funny moment. And oh God, I can't even think of. Oh no, I remember a couple of years ago, we did not record this, but our own Michael Bronner, it was his first year in Saraland, the year they won the state championship. They won like 52-51 in a game that just came down to the last. I mean, it came down to the last inch of the game, and Michael had the call. And moments like that you can't replace.
Yeah.
And it was one Jeff Kelly won his state championship a couple years ago. And just think about moments like that. And the next week we're like, hey, we're going to play that, for the morning show for Lee. And we're like, we never recorded it. Somehow it did not get
Oh,
recorded.
God.
In our mind, it's still there.
Yeah.
Corey LeBounty, who does the afternoon show,
His
is
final drive.
He called me, Danny and Michelle, during the week right before football season 20 years ago, and says, hey, I just love high school. Do you think you guys can do anything? Let me, do some games. So he started just calling me and volunteer to go out to a stadium on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Now he's doing full-time afternoon radio show.
Yeah. Ain't
so
that
we've
I
had
something?
love that. I think we had
him on one of our
He
episodes.
shared that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite, I want to mention her name, Natalie Williamson. She is now with Fox 10. She does reporting. She was 5 years old, 6 years old, all the way till she was in high school. And she would call, and as a 6-year-old, and her dad would tell her what to say, but she had it all queued up. I just want to give y'all the Cottage Hill score. My brother had 2 tackles. We won. And she would just,
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
and she never stopped calling. And now
Mm.
I got to know her dad and got to know her. And she actually came up to WNSP when she was 19 and in college and started working for us. And now she's doing it full time for Fox. I want to say Fox 10 or maybe Channel 5. I think it's Fox 10. Anyway,
Oh, I love
stories
that.
like that is what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's real life.
Yeah, it is. So
Yeah.
it's kind of my next question, over all these years, have you seen like every year there's been this one consistent fan that calls in every year and you can't wait to hear from him on Friday nights? You got anybody in particular
Yeah.
like that?
I could think of two people. One's passed away, but do you remember Scooter?
Oh yeah, I love Scooter, man. Oh yeah. He's a walking sports trivia guy. I
Uh,
mean, he was
you know,
unreal.
I would see him and he did a woo at the end of every
Woo!
call.
Yes.
I met him at the mall one time and I guess he just walked up to me, and Scooter's like that. He'll just walk up and start talking to you. And he said, "So what's your name?" I said, "Well, Tim Taylor." And I actually told him Pigskin Pete, and we talked 20 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Scooter, I got to go. My wife's waiting." Great. But Scott from Biger, he's
Yeah.
a caller every Friday night. I just think of some callers that never stop calling. And he always gives me a roll tide, go Saints, go Wolves, right
Yeah.
as he hangs up the phone. So, we do have consistent callers that call us all the time, and that's what makes the show.
That's right.
We love what we do, but it's really the callers that call in, coaches that jump on. That's why
Yeah.
we love doing it.
That's
And
what makes your show,
yeah,
That's like when Nick Saban was coaching, you had Pee Wee from Grand Bay. I mean, he would be the first caller on Nick Saban's show on Thursday. I don't know if you watched the Nick Saban show.
Oh, yeah.
Being an
Oh, yeah.
Auburn fan, but you can always count on Pee Wee from Grand Bay calling in. He was
Yeah.
hilarious, man.
Pee Wee turned into a celebrity.
Yeah.
Everybody
So-
knew Pee Wee. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. Well, I
So-
love the things that he's already given us that he loves about his Friday nights.
Yes.
Like he's already shared so much about just loving what he gets to do and about his Friday nights. So tell us just a little bit about your faith.
Well, thank you for letting me do that. So my wife and I, we met at Auburn, and we grew, pretty much grew up in LaGrange, but we actually met at college. It's probably when my faith really started. I attended a church when I was at the university, and just really, that's how Lori and I really met, through the church activities and getting to know. Auburn had a really thriving church at that time, and then we moved to Mobile, and y'all know maybe Jeff Spiller, I know well, with the Christ United, big golfer, and we visited his church, and there's probably 2,500 members at that time when we visited Michelle. And we moved to Mobile in 93 and visited churches. But the second week we went there with 2,500 members, he's like, "Tim and Lori, great to have you back." He just had that. We
New names.
just
Yes.
unbelievable. So, I mean, what I'm doing on high school, I think God's put that into my a life through when I was when I needed to put my way through school. I couldn't afford college, and blessed me with a good radio job, and it's like, hey, you have to have an escape. I think everybody does something. And I think mine was God put into my life, hey, promote high school football, promote these kids on Friday night. There's a lot of coaches that have a lot of faith, and this is what it's about. It's great wins, but these kids are learning so much, and I'm a part of the FCA. I've been part of that for many years, and just what they do through that program, it's a lot of outreach for athletics. So it's the big part of my life, and I think just where I am today, my job, my family. Don't take anything for granted. I'm just extremely blessed to have, to have seen what I've seen, and the family I have. It means a lot.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I love that so much, and that you recognize that that's something that fires you up, and you have a passion for that, because turning that passion into a purpose helps encourage the younger generations to know and recognize that there are men like you guys, or family units like you and Lori and your children, that they can look up to, they can see that you're actually doing the good, and you get to share that through big things and little things, and so thank you for that. Thank you for being strong in your faith. Thank you for, serving where you serve, and just having a heart for what God has cultivated in you. because so many people miss it. They miss that, and they just run hard after what they think they should be doing. And it's not necessarily that heart call and that, God call and that passion. So thank you for doing that, and just be encouraged that you're making a tremendous difference.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm a big believer that God puts people in your life, and I messed up probably and didn't do something I should have done at that moment. But I just think of the people I just mentioned that now do this for a career.
Yeah.
I think of the people that Scooter and the people that have called in. We brought joy on their Fridays. I just think there's a lot of ways. When I hear a coach talk about, I love to hear a child that's grown up and they played with us for a number of years. They were struggling at home and now they've got a great job. They've got 2 kids. And I'm like, yeah, you were part of,
shaping
putting their life where it should be and getting God involved with their life. And that's why a
Yes.
lot of coaches are involved with these Christian places like FCA. And it's just funny how it works. It's just a spinning. And one day, hopefully, other people will be at WNSP doing what we do, and it doesn't go away, because especially when it comes to coaching, you just impact so many lives. And years down the road, when you see that, I think that's where God blesses to see what you did by giving time to somebody.
And it happens all the time. There's kids I've coached 15, 20 years ago, and they come back and, and say, hey, coach, thank you for being so hard on us. Thank you for loving us. And, thank you for leading us to Christ. And man, truly, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's fun to win on Friday nights, but that is the huge victory when you get kids come back years later and thanking you that you led them to Christ. And, like those good things you just said.
And you're depositing seeds in everything that you do. Every time you show up to that radio station and you're doing all the things, you're sowing seeds. You're sowing seeds and sowing seeds.
And, well, I appreciate that, and appreciate what y'all do. Your show here inside the Red Zone. I mean, it's you're getting people to share their faith, show what they love to do, but it's more important. There's a lot more important things than what we're doing on Fridays, and I know the coaches realize that too, what they do. But to get the unexpected, Danny, I know you've had it. The young adult to come back to you and say something years later, and you had no idea, like you don't even remember what they're talking about, but you made an impact. That's
right.
That's a special moment. Yeah.
And kids are going to remember, they're not going to remember what you gave them. They're going to remember how you made them feel, and like I said, it happens. And it's just, I'm very fortunate and very blessed to do something that I absolutely love to do. So,
yeah. And you're still doing it.
Yes. Still having fun, man.
Might be in another state for right now, but he's
right.
still doing it.
Yeah. So Coach Michelle, do we got time for a little off the wall rapid fire questions real quick? Do we can shoot at Pigskin Pete?
I think we need to.
All right. Hey, Pigskin Pete, you got a seatbelt that you hold down right now. I don't want you get too excited to hold you back now.
All right. I'm a little nervous. I hope my computer doesn't go out.
Just first thing that pops into your mind as we kind of throw these out there. Don't be nervous.
You want a one word or just a thought?
Whatever you want to give or say.
If it's more than one word, that's okay. So it's going to be back and forth, man. All right. So I'm going to leave the first one. We're going to take turns. Okay.
All right.
All right, Pigskin Pete, biggest pet peeve.
Biggest pet peeve. That's a good question. My biggest pet peeve is driving down the interstate and somebody is in the left lane. And this is a small pet peeve, but it's just, I mean, like, and there's 40 million cars behind them. And it's just like, there's a number one, there is a law for that, but it's just, I'm more patient than I used to be, but I guess one of the pet peeves, because I had it just last week, is driving, and people sometimes just like are not courteous.
Left laners.
Doing about 45. Yeah.
So that's a small one, but that just jumped out to me.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started when I was 40, had my first cup, and now Michelle, that's Lori. I just love coffee.
Me too. Me too, Pigskin Pete.
have to rock the yellow hammer on every show. Shout out,
Yeah.
yellow hammer.
Hey.
It's just a thing. I have to get my coffee. So
I didn't set that up on a tee for you. That wasn't planned. That was.
All right, my turn.
Okay.
Favorite trip ever taken?
Favorite trip ever taken was the first time I snow skied at 51 years old. A few years ago, my son had never been, so we took them to Park City, Utah.
Yeah.
We went in December, and I love snow because I never see snow. I'm like, oh, I just want to see snow. And it was just the most gorgeous place. I think I just loved it. And it was just peace and quiet. And they had the Olympics there like 20 years ago, but it was a great trip. I learned how to ski. I probably won't do it again because it's so, I took a practice one full day, and my son, the guy was like, y'all ready to go? We're like, we're not going up that mountain. He said, you're ready. I didn't break anything. But it's still a great trip.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. If you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you spend it on?
I've been blessed with a lot. I mean, I'm honest, I don't know personally what I would want to buy. I mean, pay off some of the things I owe maybe, but I think just being able to give it. We talked about the faith part of it. I mean, the older I get, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, how you can impact just by giving a lot or a little, even a little, but a lot like that. It's just so many, people that need help, or whether it's faith oriented with churches or just organizations. I think it'd be a little mixture of everything there, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good.
Yeah.
I love that. Servant's heart.
That's right. All right, Pigskin, steak or seafood?
Steak.
All right.
Mountains or beach?
Mountains. That's why I like Park City, Utah.
Favorite breakfast food?
Probably would be Fruit Loop cereal.
I like it.
I love
A
it.
guilty pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. Captain Crunch. Fruit
Captain
Loop.
Crunch is great. Yeah.
All right. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. I'm a night person.
I think, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess that's why I stay up to midnight on Friday nights, but I love sports. That's where it comes from. I'm more of a sunset person. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I know the answer to this. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Well, you're already there, probably, like you said.
I'm in Mobile. I still, my office is in Mobile. I love Mobile. Probably one day, my kids are in Auburn. I grew up there, close to there in Elliott City, like you said, Michelle, but it would probably be, we talked about Alabama. I'm not leaving Alabama, probably Auburn. It's a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now that you're a coffee drinker, where's your favorite coffee spot?
So there's a place in Auburn called 7 Brew. I don't want to discount the other big coffee company, but they're cheaper, they're faster, and there's a lot of college there. That's the best service I've ever had, and their coffee is really good. But I want to give a shout out to Mobile. Every morning I go to work. I'm in Mobile pretty much 4 or 5 days, still a week, and I go to the Shell. Can I give a promo here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the Shell on Greenlight, and it's around the Solly down there toward that way, Greenlight area.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Anyway, I have to force them to let me pay for them. I bring them donuts and all that, but they're super. And I've just gotten to where I love the coffee, the community coffee cups. I love that coffee.
I love that.
Nice.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
And Michelle, I know, Danny said you're a Bama fan. Every morning I go in, Carol, she works behind the counter. She's like, 17 days, 14 days, and she talks about to Alabama kickoff. So as I go get my coffee every morning, it always is a countdown starting at about 100 days. So I wanted to give her a shout out.
That's awesome.
Instead of countdown to Christmas, countdown to
Just
first
countdown.
Bama game.
That's my kind of girl. What's her name? Carol?
Carol, yeah.
Carol.
She's a man. She's a
have
man.
to go
Yeah.
Shout out Carol for sure.
All right, we need to wrap this up. All right, Pigskin, what's your favorite color, man? Orange and blue?
Blue. And it's not Auburn, but I just have always liked blue. I mean, every
Yeah.
time I buy a shirt now, like a shirt I got on now, there's blue in it. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, Lori, look, a new shirt. She's like, oh, blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
I just like blue.
Did you have a favorite subject in school?
So I'm in finance. I love math. I wasn't a great student, but I mean, I just love math. I love to add, and I picked the best career I could have because I'm in the numbers. So the only thing I ever won, Michelle, is at school was $100,000 candy bar because I won a multiple contest, like multiplication, and it was in 7th grade, and that was like the biggest, like, oh my God, I just won something in school because I wasn't a great student, but it was in math. So
I
Yeah.
love that. I do love that. And you
Yeah.
won the $100,000 candy bar.
Man.
oh, it's like you would think, Danny, you just talking about, there's the little things. I mean, I wouldn't give $200 for that candy bar. That was a great moment because that was not a common trend for me to win something in class.
That's right.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
love that so much. This has been the greatest episode. We just appreciate you. We've learned a lot.
Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
All right. Last question of the night.
All
All right. I'll buy you a cup of coffee, Tim. The next time I see you, what was the name of your first grade teacher? If you get this, coffee's on me.
Oh.
Don't know her first name, but her name was Miss Johnson.
Hey, bingo. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
it.
And I like mine caffeinated, so thank you.
Uh,
Miss Johnson was
I know where
great.
your office is located. I'm going to surprise you, bring you some coffee one day. How about that?
She was great, and she lived for a long time because I remember I moved from Ellick City, and that's where she taught. But years and years and years, my mom saw her one time, and she asked about me, and I was 30 years old at that time, so we had a connection or something because she's, well, how's your son Tim? So just love Miss Johnson in first grade.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Well,
What a
that's awesome.
connection. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been incredible. We want you to go and follow and listen. We're going to link the radio station. We're going to give you more information about the Friday night show so that you can hang out with Pigskin Pete if you have not already been. I'm pretty sure most everybody's already been there and been listening probably for years.
Yeah.
But we may have some other,
Yeah.
network or listeners that are not from this area
Yeah.
that would like
Needs to tune in.
listen
We
in.
love to take calls, Michelle. That's our favorite. So if
Yeah.
somebody's watching tonight or this, when they're watching this video, that this is, love to hear from them. That's the
Yeah.
fun part of our show.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you give the number that they can call?
Sure. So there's a couple of ways. The number is 251 because it's in Mobile, but it's 694-1055. And we're on 1055 FM. So the 694-1055 is my memory because I've been doing it for so many years. But also, like you're doing with technology these days, we're on WNSP.com. The Sound of Mobile is an app. I have people that sometimes will travel and they're in Texas and they're like, hey, we're going to listen to you guys, and it's clear as a bell. And the WNSP app is great. The Sound of Mobile app, you can listen anywhere. Type in WNSP and you could pull us up that way as well.
I love that. I didn't
that's
know
good.
that. That's great. And we will link that as well.
Good. Okay.
Gosh, there was something else I was gonna say, and I just forgot.
No.
I hate when that
Well,
happens.
we have to get a hold of him again next
I
time we see
know,
him.
we'll just have to do an episode 2.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Tim, man, I appreciate everything you do, but I've been knowing you for a long time, man. And I appreciate the man you are. I mean, you've always been a guy that's got a lot of high class, man, of integrity. And I appreciate everything about that, man. I've never heard anybody ever say anything bad about Pigskin Pete. And that says a lot, man. And thank you so much for being on our show tonight. And I consider you a good friend.
Well, thank you, Danny, Michelle. Y'all both are special people. You're doing good things, special things, and your outreach is great. And my wife and Lori and I both, really respect you as a couple. And man, just keep it rolling. I'm looking forward to more episodes. I'll be watching. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We actually are having a really, really good time with this. It's just something that we felt like the Lord laid on our heart. Just like you said, just to highlight people in our community or across the country, whether it's players or past players or coaches or wives or in radio, or it doesn't matter. is something that we enjoy doing together, and we're having fun, and it's in season for him.
That's
like,
right.
now. And
I know.
God's still providing a way to have just that little niche of time there to where we can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well, you know, I can tell it. You guys have passion, and it's just really special seeing you as a couple sitting here and doing this. You're having fun with each other, but I can't thank you enough. I've had a ball just sitting here
Yeah.
talking to you.
yes,
That's
and
right.
next time we're gonna bring Lori on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How's that?
Break
All right,
away.
Pigskin.
Yeah,
I can't wait Friday night to hear you on there, man. You
Hey,
take
we'll
care
be
and you
there.
have a great week.
yeah.
Thank you. Give us a call.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Take care.